If you like driving on the roads at night, pay close attention to every scary detail in the following stories. Sign up below to receive more scary horror stories. My name is Lucas, and today I want to share a night that completely changed the way I look at driving alone at night. It started like any other quiet evening drive. I was on my way back home after visiting a friend in the next town over. I always preferred traveling at night because the roads are usually empty and the drive is peaceful. So, there I was, cruising down this empty highway, just me and the occasional distant headlights. Suddenly, I noticed a pair of headlights in my rearview mirror. At first, I didn't think much of it. Just another late-night traveler, right? But then the car behind me started flashing its high beams. It was annoying, but I figured the driver just wanted to pass. I moved over to let them by, but instead of passing, the car stayed right on my tail. The headlights were so close, they practically filled my entire rearview mirror. It felt like they were almost touching my bumper. I started to feel uneasy. I changed lanes again, speeding up a bit, but the car followed every move I made. My heart rate picked up as the car behind me grew more aggressive, swerving side to side, trying to force me off the road. I could feel the adrenaline kicking in, my hands gripping the steering wheel tighter with each passing second. I decided to take a random exit, hoping to lose them on the smaller, winding roads. But no matter what I did, they stuck to me like glue. I drove faster, my car speeding through the empty streets, but the pursuer never backed off. I could hear my own breathing, shallow and fast, as my mind raced with thoughts of what they wanted and why they were targeting me. Desperation set in. I tried calling the police, but my phone signal was weak, breaking up. I thought about stopping at a gas station or any place that seemed safe, but everything was dark and deserted. The isolation was crushing, every shadow and flicker of light playing tricks on my mind. Realizing I couldn't keep running forever, I made a snap decision to confront the situation. I spotted an empty rest area up ahead and pulled in, my tires screeching as I came to a stop. The car behind me followed suit, stopping a few yards away. I could see the silhouette of the driver, but they made no move to get out. I popped my trunk, grabbing the old baseball bat I kept there for emergencies. My heart was pounding, fear and determination battling inside me. I stood my ground, ready for whatever was about to happen. The tension was unbearable, the night air thick with the potential for violence. And just when I thought things couldn't get worse, I heard the distant sound of sirens. The car behind me suddenly sped off, tires screeching as it disappeared into the night. Moments later, a police car pulled into the rest area, its lights flashing. Relief washed over me as the officers approached, and I quickly told them what had happened. The police took my statement and assured me they would patrol the area. They stayed with me until I felt safe enough to continue my journey home. The relief was overwhelming, but the fear lingered, leaving me shaken and exhausted. That night left a mark on me. I learned how quickly a peaceful drive could turn into a nightmare. Now, I'm always more cautious when driving alone at night. To anyone watching this, please be careful out there. You never know what kind of dangers might be lurking on those quiet, empty roads. My name is Jake, and I'm a 22-year-old college student. It was supposed to be a simple road trip to visit my parents for the weekend. I had done the drive 100 times before, but this one was different. This time, it turned into a night of terror I'll never forget. It was a Friday evening, and I left campus around 7 p.m. The sun was setting, casting long shadows over the highway as I headed out of town. I was looking forward to getting home, seeing my family, and having a break from the stress of school. The first couple of hours were uneventful. I listened to music, thought about the weekend ahead, and enjoyed the open road. As I got deeper into the rural countryside, the roads became darker and more isolated. It was then that I noticed a truck following me. At first, I didn't think much of it. It's not unusual to have another vehicle on the road, even this far out. But after about 20 minutes, I realized the truck wasn't just following the same route, it was following me. Every turn I made, every change in speed, the truck mirrored my actions. I tried to shake off the feeling of unease. Maybe it was just a coincidence, I told myself. But then, the truck's headlights started to flash. First, just a few times, then more aggressively. My heart rate spiked. I glanced in the rearview mirror and saw the silhouette of a driver, but it was too dark to make out any details. The truck accelerated, closing the gap between us, then backed off, only to speed up again. I decided to test my suspicion. I took an unexpected exit off the highway onto a narrow country road. The truck followed. I turned down another side road, then another. Each time the truck stayed right behind me. Panic set in. I fumbled for my phone and dialed 911, praying for a signal. The call connected, but just as I started to explain my situation, the line went dead. No service. I was on my own. The road ahead was winding and desolate, with no signs of civilization. I knew I had to find a place to stop and seek help, but there was nothing out here. No gas stations, no houses, nothing but darkness and trees. I kept driving, my eyes scanning the roadside for any hint of safety. That's when I saw it. A small, rundown diner with a flickering neon sign that read, "Open 24 hours." It was like a beacon of hope in the darkness. I pulled into the gravel parking lot and jumped out of my car, sprinting towards the diner's entrance. The truck roared in behind me, its tires kicking up dust and gravel. I burst through the door, startling the lone waitress behind the counter. "Help me!" I gasped. "Someone's following me!" The waitress, a middle-aged woman with tired eyes, glanced past me at the truck idling outside. She nodded and picked up the phone, dialing the local sheriff's office. I crouched behind the counter, my heart pounding in my chest. Through the diner's window, I could see the truck's driver, a tall, burly man with a scruffy beard. He stood by his vehicle, watching the diner intently. Minutes felt like hours as I waited. The waitress kept her eyes on the man, speaking in hushed tones to the sheriff. The man didn't move. He just stood there, staring at the diner. I felt trapped, like a rabbit in a snare. Finally, the sound of sirens pierced the night. The man's expression changed. He glanced at the approaching lights, then back at the diner. Without warning, he jumped into his truck and sped off, tires screeching as he disappeared into the darkness. 2 sheriff's deputies arrived moments later. I stumbled outside, still shaking, and gave them a description of the truck and the man. They took my statement, then escorted me back to my car. "You did the right thing, coming here," one of the deputies said. "It's not safe to confront someone like that on your own." The deputies assured me they would patrol the area and look for the truck. They offered to follow me until I reached the next town, where I could stay in a motel for the night. I gratefully accepted. As I drove, I kept glancing in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see those headlights again. But the road remained empty. When I finally reached the motel, I checked in and collapsed onto the bed, exhausted but grateful to be safe. The events of the night replayed in my mind, and I realized how close I had come to something terrible. The terror I felt wasn't from a ghost or a supernatural entity, but from a real, living person with unknown intentions.